What's up? This is NKNX, and you're listening to the latest installment of the SR Mix series on Satyourday Radio. Well, what would you say is your favorite part about producing?
Oh, just being able to just create alone is like what makes producing fun, you know? I don't come downstairs into my studio and say, like, I want to make a track like this. I go into it as just letting myself be creative, and whatever I want to get out, I get out.
Yeah.
You know? That's what the fun part is.
If you could go back to any era to play anywhere, you can even, it can even be somewhere that you've played already. Where would you play?
If I can go back into an era, I would play in New York City between the 80s and the 90s.
Where?
Like a specific club?
Yeah, what's some of the spots that you would...
Oh, dude, that's hard. I mean, I wish I was able to see like Paradise Garage and clubs like Crowbar, Sound Factory, and the Palladium, and all those legendary clubs, the Tunnel, the Roxy, Limelight. I mean, New York had so many amazing clubs at one point, and it's sad they're not there anymore. I feel like this generation is definitely shortchanged because, you know, the club culture was so big in New York, and now it's kind of, you know, it's shifted to Brooklyn.
And do you have any dream places that when you started making music were like, oh, I have to be here?
Ibiza is always one of them.
Right.
You know, like that's every DJ's first choice.
Right.
But I would say like Awakenings Festival, stuff like that. I'm playing Time Warp in New York this fall in November. That's like a really big accomplishment for me. But at the end of the day, I don't focus so much on, you know, what I wish. I go after what I want, and I try to get it as much as I can. But yeah,
it's a good way of looking at it.
Yeah, as a kid, I was always like, oh, I can't wait to one day play in Ibiza. You know, like you look at these videos and you see all these DJs playing, and like, I guess now I'm in a different stage where like, I one day dreamt to play with Carl Cox, like, you know, that happened, and I'm on his label, and that's like an amazing thing. But I don't dwell on that, because if I dwelled on it, then I would never exceed that. So that's why I don't try to get caught up in that moment at all.
And back to the mix, what are the people going to listen to in this mix?
So in this mix, it's a lot of tracks that when I first started going out into the club industry in New York, I was 17, 18 years old, and these are the tracks that like really inspired me. Mainly, I was going to see my cousin, Victor, and there are a lot of tracks that he used to play that I really got inspired from. So there's tracks like Ben Sims, I Want to Go Back. There's a few D-Tron tracks in there. And those guys, like, I've always paid attention to them because I was listening to them when I first started going out. And all those tracks really stayed in my head for such a long time that they're like classics for me, you know? So a lot of those tracks are tracks that I've heard as I was coming up and getting into techno and house. I started off with a Dennis Ferrer track that's, I mean, legendary.